Hold on a second. One more second. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Black and Gold. This is HiBruiNation. Thank you for the woo! I'm Cam, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts in Matt Vogel down in Studio V, and Christian, who is down in the kitchen in the current moment. We got training camp has finished. Jeremy Swayman still not signed, and preseason as of tonight of this recording has started. We got a lot to unpack, so let's get started. Fellas, how are we doing?
I'm feeling good. Hockey's back. It was great to see. Great to turn on the TV, see Nesson, get see the pregame, see the rink. I know you were at the game, so we're gonna get into that a little later. That must have felt good to be back. But how are you guys feeling? I mean, we're back. Hockey's back.
Yeah, we're back and going. A little bummed out after that loss, but it's preseason. We'll get it all under settled. Just the first game of the year.
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah, tough loss 3-2 to the Rangers. I mean, it's preseason, right? Like we said, it's gonna be a rough preseason. We really don't have a really strong, talented talent pool down in the AHL. Really, we have a couple guys actually tonight at the game that I noticed and took a couple notes on, stood out in front of me. But baby, we're freaking back. We are so back. 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks. And we are playing our first game against the Florida Panthers, where we get to see them raise the Stanley Cup banner, which won't, incite any PTSD or anything of that nature, right? No, we'll be fine. Guys, we got some news, right? So some good news actually for a former Bruins player. JVR got a 1-year contract with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So congratulations to him. I think he's well earned it. I think we can kind of all agree on that, right? Kind of get some quick thoughts on that. Vogel, let's start with you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, happy for him. He was pretty good here. I have nothing bad to say about him. I was a little thrown off because I think a couple of days or a week before that came out that he had signed a PTO with Seattle. I didn't hear anything else other than otherwise, and then it comes out that he signs a deal with Columbus. But I mean, regardless, good for him. Good for Columbus. He's a good player.
Yeah, Cummings. What about you?
No, he's kind of I don't know. We're happy for him and everything. He's gonna have to fill that empty void for unfortunately, R.I.P. Johnny Hockey. He's not gonna live up to that standard of him, but happy he gets one more year in the league.
Quick thing on Johnny Hockey. So actually, before the Bruins started the preseason game tonight, there was a wonderful memoriam. I wish I actually got the video of it, but I decided not.
You showed it on TV.
It was a beautiful ceremony for him, celebrating his life and his career. Obviously, for the tragic loss, the hockey community lost not only a great player but a great person, father, brother, and the whole thing. No one's going to fill those shoes in Columbus, at least not for a long time.
No.
And he left his mark not only in Columbus, but in Calgary as well. And as Cummings put it so eloquently, rest in peace, Johnny, and his brother, Matt.
It did come out that the Blue Jackets are going to have either patches or stickers in their helmets.
Good
for both Matty and Johnny, and I believe they're going to keep Johnny Gaudreau's locker filled with his stuff every game for the whole year. So that's a cool way to honor that.
Adding on to him, I know it still hits me that we lost him. It's still really fresh in my mind, but it's just seeing how the hockey community responded to in kind, especially in Calgary. If you saw, and in Columbus, I believe they were doing this well. A lot of fans were leaving sticks, jerseys, flowers, all of these things in great support of his family, who I am sure are still just as shocked as everybody else. Come together, and it just shows that that's why I love hockey the most. That it's just more than just such a sport. It's a family, it's a community, and it's glad to share. But yeah, JVR is with them. Hopefully he can uplift them, and help them. Also, I'm assuming his teammates will also be having a difficult time. So hopefully he adds, some veteran leadership into the locker room, and it's well deserved for him. We also, on some Bruins news, we signed another 30-year-old goaltender in Casimir Cascusio to PTO. I think this is likely just to satisfy a temporary goalie need, as the person actually being constant until Jeremy Swayman is signed. We can get further into that after we bring him up. But it doesn't seem like he played constantly at the NHL level. In fact, it seems like he spent a lot of time up and down in different leagues. So I just see this as maybe if we start the season without Swayman, it gives Brendan Bussey a chance to be elevated. I don't know. Cummings, what do you think? Let's start with you.
Yeah, it took it right out of my mouth. It just gives us that goalie reassurance, that extra security blanket until we get that pressure ink on paper.
Okay, Vogel.
So I have his not his stats, but he played at the University of Minnesota Duluth for 2 years. He was in the AHL in Toronto's farm system. He bounced between the Toronto Marlies and first of all, I think the coolest name of any hockey team ever, the Orlando Solar Bears.
Oh, wait, that's a real name.
That's the Orlando Solar Bears. Go online and look up their uniforms and the logo. It is the coolest thing.
Is it
anyway?
It's the ECHL team.
Is it
ECHL? Yeah.
Is it similar? Is it similar to sorry, Cummins, is it similar to the Florida Panthers? I know I'll forget. That's why I'm only interrupting you. Like I know with my brain I'm gonna forget.
Is it Tampa?
No.
So who are they affiliated with?
I honestly don't know. I don't
know, but so that they're such a good organization as well because they're owned by the same people who owned the Orlando Magic, so they get to play in their stadium.
I did not know that.
That I didn't know.
I just knew. I want to get a jersey. I mean, they have the coolest.
They do have a really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. Cool. But anyway, so he bounced up back up between the Solar Bears and the Marlies for a few years. Played a year in the Chicago Wolves in the AHL. Back to the Toronto Marlies in the AHL for 2 years. He played one game for the Maple Leafs in 2019, 2020. One game for the Predators in 2020, 2021, and then played in Sweden for a few years before playing back in the AHL this past year for, I believe, Montreal's farm team, the Laval Rocket. So he's been primarily an AHL goalie. I don't see him, being in any real contention for a starting spot. But I think and we'll get into the Swayman stuff, but after the press conference with Sweeney the other day, he seemed pissed about the whole situation. I think it was more of a, hey, listen, we have until December 1st, so let's start coming up with a backup plan.
I that can lead us right into it because I really don't know much else about this Casimir guy. So he's going to be an AHLer from my perspective. I mean, you have, like I said, you have Korpisalo, who's also probably going to be fighting for his spot, but he's likely going to be there. You have Brendan Bussey, who's going to be fighting for his spot. He actually started tonight, and then DiPietro took over eventually, but that's just common that they'll, as well as I do. It's like the NFL. They'll swap in players in and out and play them. So yeah, I think he's a filler until his contract is signed. So that is going to be what it's going to be. Leading into Swayman and what your comments are with what Sweeney had. So Sweeney had a press conference on, what was it, Wednesday, right?
I believe so.
I know this is a common thing for a lot of teams to do, is to have this press conference, but it was so centered around Jeremy Swayman that it kind of irritated me a little bit. Like, you just wasted people, like a half hour people's time. That
everybody thought he was signed, and that was the announcement. Everybody thought that.
Yeah. Well, that was new. That was the news coming out of a lot of sources saying that, like, there's a contract done. So maybe there was a verbal agreement or something like that, or maybe there was something that took it away. I don't know. But from my understanding now is that Jeremy and Sweeney, they're agreeing on term. It's just there's a holdup on the money side of things. So what's it going to take is my question to get this guy signed. And I've seen on Twitter a lot that, it's not just Sweeney. There's a player and an agent on the other side of the argument, right? So I don't know.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
saw, again, to your point, I saw that they had agreed on 8 years. How true that is, I have no idea. They also all of the numbers, salary wise, it has been speculation as far as I'm concerned. Nothing's been confirmed.
Oh,
Nothing has
yeah.
been leaked from any credible sources. It's all just speculation.
You've heard
Who know
all over the place too.
exactly? I mean, who
You've
knows if
heard
Swayman wants
10
10? Who
plus.
knows if
You've
they've
heard
offered him?
exactly.
Yeah. So until we know the numbers, I mean, we're back to square one. I thought they had a deal signed, and I'm just as frustrated as everybody else.
I thought they were gonna. I thought they would have. Yeah, no. You bring up a point, Cummings. Like Cummings said, it's been all over the range. What first we heard Sweeney wants 4 by 6.5 or something like that.
4 times 6.4 something. Yeah,
whatever, close enough.
264. Yeah, some crazy shit like that.
And then we heard 9. We heard 8. We heard all over this whole debacle. And I was actually talking with Matt about this, from Pucking Around, and he had said, well, we have to take into consideration that, we're going to be also paying for basically 7 of his UFA years. I'm like, cool, fine. But who is he comparing himself to where he's garnering $10 million? The man has not played a single season where he's played at least 50 games or more. He's split the pipes. He doesn't have a cup. He doesn't have a Vezina. I think the only thing he has is the Jennings, which was between him and Olmark. But if you look at Hellebuyck, who has started, he makes round 9, I think. Vasilevsky has 2, 3 cups, I think. I can't remember. He has at that point, I can't even count.
3.
Yeah, 3. So who's he comparing himself to where he can get this kind of money? Igor Shesterkin? Maybe. I don't know.
Even still.
But Shesterkin started.
Has been that number 1 guy, whereas Swayman's been that.
Yeah.
Meshed with Olmark, he hasn't been that. Up until last playoff, he has not been that number 1 guy. He's shown he can do it, but it's at a whole seasons right now. It's
been 1A, 1B, right? So in my eyes, the closest thing that's comparing to him is Yossi Saros. And I think he's making 8.7, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the exact number, but he's definitely making 8.
You're also under the assumption that $10 million rumor that came out is true, and that's what he's willing to die on that hill. I mean, I'm not convinced that's what he wants, because that's a crazy ask.
I think it could be one of those situations where he's like, all right, I'm going to start high, and then I'm going to see where we can meet. And obviously Sweeney's going to be like, I'm going to start low, and then there's going to be a figure somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? I'm blanking on the word for it. It's a back and forth. It's what it's going to be. I think originally Sweeney wanted shorter term and more cap friendly deal. Swayman was like, no, I want to be here longer. This is my team. I've shown it. Give me 8 years. So from my understanding, they're in agreement at 8 years. It's just a matter of what that value is going to look like.
Yeah, I don't know. We do have someone here who would like to pop in and give a theory. He's big behind the scenes of the Hibernation podcast. He's producing this episode right now. You can find him on Talking Habs and Habnormals. Rick, why don't you pop in and let us know what you think?
Hey, everybody. Sorry for Hab being here, but I have this theory from today. What if it's the agent? Now, after watching, because I caught half of the game today, maybe the agent said, they don't have anybody. We have a chance here to sort of have them by the balls and get that money. And I think, just thinking from watching today that, if you guys don't have Swayman this year, it's like, say he's gone all year, it's going to be a horrible year, right? I think the agent saw that and said, hey, let's do that to them and see what we can get out of them. That's my theory.
Cummings, you look like you wanted to go. Go ahead.
You were wondering how much Saros is making. Saros doesn't even make 8 yet. He makes 7.7.
Yeah.
7.75.
It's only Bobrovsky that gets 10, and then Carey Price, who's done, gets 10.5. No other goalies get. that
But
much.
I want to add to
Like
Rick's
the-
point. You're absolutely right, Rick. Sorry to cut you off again, Cummings. But like you're right. It's not just Sweeney. There is an agent and a player on the other side of that deal. I'm pretty sure Swayman's like, I'll take 8 for 8, which I think he's worth up to at least 8.5. That's it. That's what I'm giving him, because he has shown in the playoffs where he can produce and he can be that guy, where he needs to. I think he was labeled first in saves against goals expected or something like that in the league. Like it was him and Allmark.
Goals saved above expected. I think both Allmark and Swayman were in the top 10 in that last year.
Which is a crazy stat to have. So yes, you're clearly talented. There's no question about it, but you're not, like, you know what I mean? So I think there is definitely a bit on Sweeney, a lot on the agent is actually what I'm going to say, and a smidge on Swayman. Like, I think they're all three of them are not helping the situation get forward. The only thing that I know right now that they have is, like I said, they have the 8-year term agreed upon. I wouldn't say done.
This I read on Twitter. Apparently that is, so to confirm what Vogel was saying, I think that is accurate. They're agreed on the term. Something happened. Vogel said, we were expecting he was signed. That was the announcement. I think something happened in between the night before when they announced this press conference, and then when it happened that they disagreed on the money. Something happened. I think it's the agent. I'll leave now. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming, Rick.
Thanks
for
Rick.
Rick has a point to that, and so I don't know what it is, and if Sorrow's not making $8 million a year, I thought it was 8.7. I was wrong.
I thought it was at least 8.25, but no.
So in my eyes,
he's only making 5 this year.
That's your comparison in my eyes. Saros is your comparison. You're not the Igor Shesterkin. You're not Vasilevsky. You're not Hellebuck. You haven't started that much. You were effectively Saros, because Saros did the same thing with Pekka Rinne when Pekka Rinne was in the league. They split time. That's your comparison. So now I'm actually going down. I'm saying 8.25. I don't know. What do you guys think?
To Rick's point, though, I mean, if you watch the game today, I mean, Bussy didn't play terrible, but I'm sure Swayman, I don't know about him, but his agent, I'm sure they're licking their chops, wanting Bussy, Korpisalo to play bad because they could use that as leverage.
I want to counter that with when it's preseason and the roster that we had tonight was not an NHL roster.
Yes, obviously taking that into consideration. Yeah.
So Bussy played well, but I also feel like Bussy doesn't feel like he has to play for much anymore. He's also on a 1-year prove-it deal. I thought he played well for what he was given. I didn't think he played terrible. I'm not expecting him to save every goal, but I think he'll continue to play through preseason to kind of prove his point.
But even during, they have till December 1st to get a deal done. So even right now, Korpisalo is the guy, and that sucks to say out loud. But right now, Korpisalo is your guy, and I'm sure that Swayman's agent is sitting there waiting for him to fuck up, because again, you can use that as leverage, because how desperate are the Bruins going to get?
So then, for both of you guys, so it seems term is 8 years. Barring if we didn't have term, I want to know what you guys have for term and figure for Swayman, with everything like taking into account everything that's happened over the summer. If you had to start from scratch, knowing everything now, Cummings.
Sorry, knowing everything that's going on right now, I'm so happy with 8.8.
All right, 8.8. Vogel.
I'm in that ballpark. I have a feeling it's going to be 8 years, somewhere between 8.8 and 8.5. I'm sorry, 8 and 8.5.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go in the middle.
At 8 years each.
So I'm gonna go in the middle of you. Like I said, I think he's at 8.25 for 8 years. I think that's it. That's where I have him. Lot on Swayman. It's frustrating, right? It's frustrating because you know that's your goal. They got rid of Allmark in order to sign him because they knew they could only sign one, and then this is what we're left with: depression and not Swayman. So that kind of stinks. He obviously wasn't there for training camp. So let's go into that a little bit. So training camp was kind of lackluster. I feel we didn't have a lot going on.
Rookie camp.
Rookie camp. Sorry. felt underwhelming, didn't it? Like, we didn't have
the roster they put out didn't wow me at all.
Yeah.
They played 3 games over the last weekend. They went 2 out of 3. I mean, they were in either the morning or the middle of the day, so I couldn't watch a ton, but I watched a little bit, and it was, again, nothing really jumped out at me.
How do you guys feel about the Tyler Johnson PTO and how that's going to impact preseason and training camp?
It's gonna define where we are. It's not define where we are, but it's gonna definitely put us in, give us hopefully our best eyes on where we need to go, the direction. Worst case scenario, do we need to start building towards getting towards that front if, God forbid, Swayman doesn't sign or anything? But
so, real quick on that. So, but where do you put him if you sign him? Where do you put him?
Middle 6.
Middle 6. Okay.
Yeah, he can jump between the 2 and the 3.
I wouldn't even hate putting him on a wing. At least
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't, because right now we have a question at second right wing. Like that's where the question is, and I bet you that's why they got him, and I bet you that's why they want Swayman at a pseudo cap friendly deal. So we
only have 8.6 right now left in cap space.
Yes, we do, but we also have the ability to move players up and down to Providence.
I'm just saying as it stands right now.
Yeah. So we could likely get the money to sign him. We're going to have to talk him down to maybe $900K. That's probably what he'll probably have to be at. I'd love to have
that, man.
Yeah, I'd love to have a guy like Tyler Johnson in the lineup because he's a good guy that can kind of slot in and out of the lineup. He's not going to be a guarantee. I see him as more of a bottom 6, not a middle 6 player. I would try him at the wing on second line, but I think that's going to belong to somebody else. He didn't play tonight, so he didn't play in the first preseason game. So that was kind of interesting to see. They gave a lot of the young guys their shot. So I think they're going to kind of take the young guys and narrow it down further and further as they go from there.
He also brings a lot of veteran leadership too on a young team. On a young team, he has a lot of experience.
Cup champion.
Yeah, exactly.
Cup champion.
So I think that having that just in the room might be big for the young guys.
I think so. I think that's why that's another reason why they wanted to bring him in. Outside of that, though, outside of the rookie camp, we had the prospect tournament games where we went 1-2, where we lost to Pittsburgh and Columbus, but we won against New Jersey. Really not much to say about those. I know they were not televising, but streaming them through the NESN website, I believe it was. I didn't get a chance to watch them, but
they were on the Bruins website. On the Bruins website, it was at the Buffalo Sabres practice facility, and there was no commentary on the games. So
how weird must have that?
It was very strange, especially with a lot of the prospects. I mean, it was tough trying to follow with a lot of guys people have never heard of before.
That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, whatever. It's a prospects challenge. We're ranked low. I think like 30th. I think in the NHL, or 29th in the NHL in terms of prospect pool. Yeah, so it's not like I was expecting much out of the prospects. I won't lie. Some crazy news though with that, out of Friday, that Elias Lindholm was out of practice Friday and Saturday during the scrimmaging, apparently due to soreness. So I'm hoping that was one of the offseason's biggest acquisitions, right? Elias Lindholm. We needed a 1C, and now all of a sudden he's injured. Injured in finger quotations. Like, what the? Can we catch a break?
No.
I saw today that he's going to be reevaluated tomorrow, and they're expecting him to skate Tuesday. So when this comes out, it'll be Monday. They're going to reevaluate him today, and then hopefully he's on the ice back on Tuesday, or there's another game against the Capitals, so maybe he's playing in the game.
Did you guys hear Pasternak's comments with respect to Elias Lindholm? What Pasternak said in the praise that he gave him?
No.
He said and compared playing with Elias Lindholm has been like playing with David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron. I wanted you guys' thoughts on that.
I mean, obviously putting on the black and gold, that's some high praise. Oh, we lost Vogel.
He'll be back.
We have some high praise to be living up to, especially, you know, at least me and you growing up, that is our 1 and 2 Bruins guys, you know, up with Chara, Rask, whatever. But it's definitely big shoes to fill. But hey, that's the way we want. If you know you're a top guy right now, if that's what the praise he's giving him, that's some good signs, I hope.
Do we think he's worthy of that praise, Vogel? Like, it's kind of really early to say something like that.
Again, all they've skated so far is captain's practice, and I think 1 day of training camp before, you know, that took him out of commission. So I don't know if it's necessarily, you know, a direct comparison, but I mean, it's definitely something you want to hear from a veteran guy of the guy who's new to the team.
I won't disagree with you there at all. I think it's high praise. My concern is, you know, is that because when you hear something like that from Pasternak, it's very good. It gives everyone like the warm and fuzzies, right? You know, that your new centerman is going to be a guy that you feel like you gel with. It's giving you a sense of familiarity, right? So your chemistry might not be difficult to kind of pick up on, or, you know, to get back together. He's also playing with Zacha on the wing, right? As we anticipate. So maybe did you guys think it's going to need to be Elias Lindholm's going to need to adjust to Zacha and Pasta, or do you guys think it's going to be the opposite?
I'm hoping it's a smooth transition. I think that, you know, Lindholm's he's on a new team, in a new setting, play with new guys. So I think it's going to be a big adjustment for him in general. But I don't think it'll be an issue.
Do you guys both think that Elias Lindholm can return to form? So he's 1 year removed from a 0.80 points per game average over a 3-year span. Do you think, and he's only 29, do you think he can return to that form, playing with Zacha, Pasternak, and just on this Bruins team and being part of this Bruins mentality?
The line definitely gives him the opportunity to, playing around people his age. And again, with a skill of someone as big as Pasta, Zacha kind of still needs to prove himself a little bit, you know, getting in the point production. I felt like he disappeared a little bit last year. So maybe this playing on the wing, not much of a center role responsibility, it might give him a little bit more freedom to open up his offensive game. But again, hopefully it's a little bit of a give and take. Zacha and Pasta give a little bit into Lindholm, and Lindholm's giving into them. But Lindholm's as Vogel said, Lindholm's in a new situation. He's obviously already open up to change.
Vogel, what do you think?
No, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think that he's going to. I think that he's going to excel here. I think he's going to be good. He's got a good situation. He's got a good team around him. I don't think it'll be an issue.
Cool. No, I mean, I agree. I think he's going to pick up right where he kind of left off, where he was a long while ago. I mean, he's when you look at what he had in Calgary on that declining scale of like points, and people say like he's showing signs of regression. Like the other best player he has on that team is Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah, I hate him.
Like, so it's because he's a Leaf, or like, I don't know.
I cannot.
You can't stand him. What did he do? He was known for like hitting pretty dirty, right? Like when he was in the Leafs, like he was getting suspended pretty much on an annual basis when he was in the playoffs, right? And then it wasn't until, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. And then he went to Colorado, won a cup, and had a blast. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of him either. I know him and Marshawn have had it out. But if you look at where Elias Lindholm was, I don't think he had the talent around him to kind of help him out.
That's what I mean. So it's a good situation he's in. It's still a good team. It's a younger team. So hopefully that talent's around for a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have him for 8 years. Zaka is going to be approaching a contract year, but I don't think he's going to garner much. He'll probably garner 6.5, if I'm to be honest with you. But I mean, it'll be good. We'll have a decent first line for a reasonable amount of time. Moving to let's pivot to tonight and the start of preseason, because we talked a lot of theory and with Swayman and what's been going on and what our first line is going to look like. But tonight we're back with hockey. And let's talk about the preseason game. So I actually had the good fortune of going to the game tonight. I was actually a couple rows just right behind the Bruins bench, and it was good to see the team. However, I would actually say that the lineup tonight was majority of the young guys and a couple fourth liners, and probably our third pairing, D pair in the form of Lil Ryan and Peak. So I wouldn't say any of the bigger guys played. I don't know. Did you guys get a chance to watch the game?
I did. Yeah, I watched most of it.
Cummings, what about you?
No, couldn't. Dad duty.
Dad duty? Yeah.
Dad duty.
Papa Cummings on the dad duty.
Well, how did it feel to be back, just in the building?
How did it feel? Electric, dude. Electric. I probably I had to contain myself because I was there with a friend, so I couldn't go too feral into my normal Bruins state. But the crowd around us was
barking at everyone.
Nuts. Dude, yeah, I do bark at everyone actually, and I was literally like 3 rows behind the Bruins bench. So I mean, I called Montgomery handsome. I told him like, "Hey, you're looking good tonight," and I'm pretty sure he turned and winked at me.
Guys, if you see Cam at the Garden.
Yeah. To Vogel's point, it was a crowd. What I didn't like was that there was also a significant amount of Rangers fans. So
really,
there was
from New York.
We're not.
They're going to travel. Sunday? It's cheaper games.
Yeah, I don't know, buddy. Take a guess. So I was actually 3 or 4 rows behind the bench. I paid about $200 per ticket.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but they're normally about $350, $400, depending on the matchup and things like that. If it's a weekend game, yeah, they're like $600 because
seats up in the balcony were like $30.
Yeah, but I was like, screw it. If I'm gonna pay,
might as well.
Yeah, right. Like I might as well try and see if I can get close to the guys, and it was fun. It was a wonderful time. But the building was, like I said, the building was electric. There were Rangers fans there. Like, it's fine. We're all here for that. It's fun. It's a sport, but fuck those guys.
It's all fun until someone throws a punch.
Well, there were a couple punches thrown in the game, but there was obviously some names that we wanted to see right out of preseason that needed to start impressing significantly. Merkulov was one of them. Lysell was another. We could see a little bit more out of Ian Mitchell, but I think he's, we got him in a trade. I believe it was with Chicago. We could see a little bit of him. More on Lowry, I guess we can kind of see. He gave you a taste of something last year, so I wanted to see if he can kind of remain that consistent. I think Lettieri, Duran, Trevor Kunter, and a couple of those other players. We needed some people to kind of make names for themselves, right? One guy actually really stuck out to me, and it was the guy who scored our opening goal. And I'm going to butcher his last name, and it was Kopke.
I want to say Kepka.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not sure.
But he scored the opening goal. He attacked the play. He was quick. He did a lot of things. He really impressed me, and I think he's earned another look. And we're at the big club. So I think he'll move on. The biggest kind of takeaway that I took out of this game was that most of those guys are not going to make it to the second preseason game. You know what I mean? They're going to start weeding people out, bringing in some other guys, seeing what meshes and things like that. Vogel, since you kind of watched the game, was there anyone that kind of stood out to you?
Honestly, I know that you're going to disagree because we were texting during the game, but I
Yeah.
thought Kostelic, I liked him. I know he took a couple penalties,
Man.
but I thought that he was kind of a standout player tonight.
I think he did well on the penalty kill because he was out there for a significant amount of time of that 5-on-3, and I think he did a good job. I think what really kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth, and you said, is that he was in the box for two penalties. Not a great showing for your first outing with the Bruins. I get it, shaking off some of the rust, but I wouldn't call it a bad outing, but I wouldn't call it a great first impression.
I just think that I think that he has that, that energy, that physical presence that Bruins fans are going to love, and I think that I'm not saying I'm ride or die for the guy yet, but I think that he's a big body. I think that he would be a big physical presence on the team, and it showed.
Well, I'm sitting in my seat, right? And you guys will probably find this funny. Though there's no short people on the Bruins anymore. I'm sitting down with the person I had went with, and we're sitting there and we're looking. I'm like, these guys are massive. Like they are. It's not even a joke. Like
big bad Bruins.
The big dogs around the league,
buddy. We're gonna regain that title. It is nuts how big these mothers are. Like, it's not even funny. Like, there's this guy that was like Tuft. I don't even remember, but he didn't impress me. But my God, dude, the guy was so massive. I was just screaming the entire time, like, just hit somebody, make them go poof. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was nuts how big these guys are. And Beecher's also a big guy too. And like, you just see some of these guys. Another guy that impressed me, Osterley. It appeared that he was playing defense, and he's just really quick and pivots well on his skates. I don't know. There was something about the way he skated that I really liked. And he was kind of quick to the puck. I like people who can get into the play, attack the puck, get there. You know what I mean? Be a presence. And I felt like he was a good presence there. He didn't really do much in the way of getting on the score sheet, but I could feel like watching him, he was kind of everywhere. You know
Another thing I liked too was Wotherspoon's fight against the guy that it was big hit early in the game. Wotherspoon went down. He went down for a minute or two, got back up. I think it was the end of the second period. He got him back with a big hit. Ended up with a fight. He carried the guy's helmet away and threw it before he got up.
Yeah, I was right there. I actually took a video of it. It was hilarious. Wotherspoon's a good guy too. I think he's going to be our seventh D man for sure. I think he's good. He's earned it. He'll probably slot out with Mason Lowry, anyone who needs a break, here and there. So I think you'll see him. Merkulov continued to impress me on the left wing side. He didn't score tonight, but he got an assist. And I think the way he was also around and getting his body and getting involved in the play was extremely impressive. It's kind of like what I saw out there. It gives me a little bit more hope that some of these new guys are actually trying to impress and are making an effort to impress. Trevor Kunter, who scored the second goal for the Boston Bruins, and that was assisted by Patrick Brown and Nelson. Kunter was kind of everywhere, but he was a silent killer the way I see it. So I don't know, but it looks like some of these guys have the speed and the size, and that they want to show that they deserve to be on the team.
You got to think too. Some of the guys that aren't going to make a run at the NHL level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to think that coaches in Providence, scouts around the AHL are watching too. So they're not there, even if they're not playing for a roster spot in Boston, they're playing for a spot in Providence.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, you're absolutely right. You have to that. There's a couple people I think that definitely earned their spot. I think Kunter did. I think Duran did. I think they need to develop. Right, they can continue to develop those skills. I'm absolutely fine with that. I believe in developing players appropriately, unless they're absolutely ready at the NHL level. I mean, look at Matt Patra. He translated well. I think we can all agree on that. One guy in particular that didn't do well, and I know the three of us have talked about, is Lysell. He's 21 years old. He's spent 3 years down in Providence. I don't know what his issue is. but I'm not getting the warm and fuzzies on Lysell. I know everyone here knows Lysell, so let's open the table for the discussion on him. What's it going to take for him?
I don't know. He just might be one of those people who can't come up and play that next step up.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
He might be an AHLer.
I was talking to Vogel. I don't think he makes it through preseason. I think he might get sent down early on.
And make him prove himself again?
I don't know if he's going to get another opportunity like that. With the way Patra, a guy who was taken the second round, not to say that that's a bad thing, is outplaying him. He's outdoing him in every way. A guy like Beecher, who was taken 30th, playing and outplaying him. And it's not to say that Beecher and these other guys don't have skill, but if you just look at it from a holistic perspective, when you're taken at a certain level, you're expected to perform. I mean, look at Zach Senyshyn, look at Jacob Zaboral. Those were busts. Well, what do you think?
I was pretty convinced that he was going to fill that open second line winger slot. I have changed my mind. It might be dramatic after one game, but more than half the game, he didn't stand out to me. He didn't do anything of impact. And once I kind of caught on to it, it was almost like he was kind of trying too hard. Like I don't know what his deal is. I also don't know. I don't know. I've kind of changed my tune. I'm not as convinced that he's the guy now.
Do you think I like what you said about how he's trying too hard? That guy he's so speedy, but he's so reliant on his hands. And I would just watch him take the puck into the blue. The second he crosses the blue line and he's faced with a guy who's bigger than him, he tries to deke around him and he loses the puck, but doesn't try to fight to get it back. I don't know if you noticed that too. And maybe it's because go ahead.
Like I was just gonna say, he just, especially today, like I didn't see much from him, and I don't know what I'm expecting to see from him, but it wasn't really much of anything.
He was a turnover machine. He was caught on one of the goals. He was caught on the outside, not picking anybody up in the defensive end, and then the guy that was probably he could have covered scored the goal. There was no effort on his end, the way I see it, to get back. He went into the corner once or twice to kind of fish a puck, but it was kind of like to poke it away. He wasn't playing the body. Maybe he got hurt at some point. I don't know if there's something mental there, but I think he's just trying to prove that he can score. I think if he just slowed his game down and slowed himself down, maybe he'd be a better player. And I'm not saying he's a bad. I shouldn't say he's a bad player, right? Like, they have far better skill than you, me, Cummings, and whatever Rick's doing right now, which is probably napping. Okay, fine. Let me know when you guys can play at an NHL level, and then I'll concede the point. How's that?
So as you were talking about that open right wing spot, I don't have the shot for nothing.
Buddy, you couldn't eat. Yeah, please. You on the right wing. That's a nightmare. That is a nightmare waiting to happen. You on the Bruins is a nightmare waiting to happen. Actually, you're probably a PR issue waiting to happen. It's frustrating to see a guy who scores 50 points in 56 games down in the AHL. He's tearing it up down there, but he just can't seem. Maybe you're right. Maybe he wants it so bad he's fucking up. I don't know what to tell you. I think he's hurting himself.
I don't know. I was pretty convinced, most of the offseason that he was going to slide into that. I had a gut feeling he was going to slide into that slot. And maybe it's just because I hadn't seen him play in a while, or hadn't, I'm having very, very serious second thoughts on that.
Do you feel at times during the game that they were intentionally keeping him out there to roll a couple lines to see where he would work? And I just feel like every time he wasn't doing what they wanted him to do, or he wasn't attacking what he needed to attack.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, I don't know. I could tell you yeah and lie, But there was a lot of times I didn't even notice him.
Yeah. I mean, we spoke about it, like, when we had the meeting, and even Matt had said, like, I watched a bit of the game, didn't even hear Lysel's name mentioned once. It's hard. And, like, when you're told that this kid is young, he's got talent, he's going to get brought up, and, like, you have Adam McQuaid singing his praises, you have the coaches in Providence singing his praises, you have all these praises coming in for this kid, and then it's just kind of like, cool, so what can we expect? Maybe give him a chance with some NHLers and see what he can do, but, like, I still point to the fact that, like, okay, you still scored 50 points in 56 games in Providence, like, you know what I mean? Show us something. Do you have the yips? Like, I don't know. Like, what's wrong?
Maybe all that hype is going to his head, and he's like you said, he's just overthinking it. He's trying to prove himself.
Gripping that stick a little too hard.
I think, no, a good point. Anytime his stick comes, like, choking up on the stick, it didn't come off smoothly. The puck was not going well. It's only when he was going. It was when he was going with speed. He tried to handle it. He kept trying to
nerves. As you're saying, he's been down in Providence for almost 3 years. He's nervous about making that fuck up. And
I think.
Go ahead. Be able to make that fuck up.
Do you think he's also trying to compare himself to someone like David Pastrnak, who, mind you, should not have gone 25th overall? That was in any redraft. He's probably going top 10. Easy.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
So
he's obviously nervous about something, and he has to get those nerves under. He has to not worry about messing up and get those nerves under control.
So noted. He has the yips. The guy has the yips. Is it me?
He's got the yips.
He's got the yips. He's got the yips. I'm gonna put that on a shirt and be like, Lysel's got the yips. That's it. I'm gonna probably make money.
Yips, dude. He's gotta figure it out.
Well, every time he had the puck, I feel like when he tried to beat people to the outside, he was clearly getting angled off, but he didn't do anything. Like, his head was down. I don't know. He kept on seeming like he was getting caught with his pants down. Like,
maybe he sucks, and we just keep trying to deny it.
Maybe, but that's our number one prospect right now, which sucks. Because actually, no, I think
he doesn't suck. Because he scored 50 and 56.
But it's not translating. It's like, that's the problem.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I don't think
he is that person who can't get over the hump. He is that, and he is that AHL all-star.
I think
he can't make NHL.
I think he just needs, and what I think he just needs to do is just maybe pass the puck, keep your head up a little bit more, or he just needs to score one goal. If he scores one goal, maybe that's it. He just needs to break the ice, right? Something needs to give for the kid. But how many more opportunities are you going to give him to do so? I'm not convinced either. Not convinced either that he kind of has it in him. I don't. When you have the guy like Matt Poitras, who is smaller than you, played pretty much virtually zero time in Providence, comes in last year and makes a huge impression on the team with his two-way game. And you have a guy like Johnny Beecher, and things like that, who were drafted after you in terms of skill set, but you have a skill set similar to them in terms of like your shot and everything like that in your hands. But you can't translate it. It's an issue. I don't want to beat Lysell with the dead horse anymore. I think he will continue on to another preseason game, maybe two. But if he doesn't change something, or if the coaches can't get him to do, or if something's not clicking, he's going to miss another season. And at that point, if he cannot be at least somewhat of an NHLer this season, do you trade him? That can be a question for another time. So
I think that's probably what we're looking at.
Yeah. And you're not going to get much for him. Maybe you'll get a second round pick, third round pick. I don't know. I wouldn't settle for anything less than a third. That's all I'm going to say. If that is the path of which they want to go, which who knows? I'm hoping that he works out. And real quick, just on him, every time he got off the ice, he looked visibly upset. He looked visibly frustrated. It was like watching Mitch Marner after someone scored a goal with a full 40 minutes left of game to play. It looks like he just got defeated. Pick your ass up, go play the game if you want. Like, that's why I like Montgomery's system. Earn your spot, not just like, you're talented, so here you go. So that's going to do it for the wrap up of what we've had so far. onto some fan mail, because we've been getting some voice memos, and we picked one for us to actually play tonight.
So we do have one. For those of you guys listening, leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube. Shoot us a message or a DM on Twitter at HiBruiNation Pod. We're always looking for some fan, questions, comments. If you guys want to give us a little shit talk us, that's fine, whatever.
Sure.
We love hearing from you guys. So I have one from here. It's fitting because we're talking about, prospect camp and today's game that had a lot of young guys, a lot of prospects. So this comes from Kyle. Here we go.
What's going on, guys? So close against hockey.
Come on now.
Technical difficulties. It's got the yips.
All right, hold on. So this is from Kyle. Hold on. Here we go.
This week and the optimism of
Kyle? Don't talk about Kyle.
Yeah,
like that.
Kyle, you
Come
really
on.
screwed us here. All right, hold on. Here we go.
What's going on, guys? So close to getting some hockey back in our lives. With camp kicking off this week and the optimism of a new season and a hopefully new look Bruins team, I wanted to ask who you're hoping will pop in camp and potentially push for a roster spot this year. Obviously, the talk of the offseason has been centered around the two major additions and, as of late, the Swayman situation. But one of my favorite things is always keeping an eye on the dark horses. So who do you got your eyes on for camp this year? Thanks.
Cummings, let's start with you.
I haven't had my eyes too much on camp this year. I'm waiting, crazy life and everything, but come back to me. I'm gonna think about it.
Come back to him.
What do you got, Cam?
Merkulov? He really impressed me tonight. And maybe if I hadn't gone to the game tonight, or if I would just watch it from my home, my thoughts and opinions might have changed on it. He looked good. He did look good. I think we can still consider Patra in that mix, because I think he will be fighting for that spot. I think it is his on that center right wing, because they are testing out Frederick at the center and on the third line, which I think would be good. But I think Merkulov actually takes that third line left wing spot. So you'll look at probably Merk, Freddie, and Geeks for your third line. So that's where I think that's what you'll get.
I would tend to agree. Like I said, I was pulling for Lysell for a while. I mean, my opinion could change after Tuesday when they play the Caps. But Merkulov, I mean, he started out slow today. He ended up, as the game went on, got better and better and kind of got more comfortable. Another guy I liked was Kuntar. I mean, he seemed like he got comfortable out there pretty quick. He seemed excited after the game. That was his first time scoring a goal at the Garden with the full crowd. He just seems like a good kid. In regards to the question, and maybe not even just filling that roster spot, just a dark horse that you want to see succeed. I like that kid. I like Riley Duran a lot.
I do. Oh, I do
think
like
that he is going to be very, very good. I'm pretty sure he plays in Providence right now. He's probably got a couple more years down there to develop. I think that he's going to be very good.
Oh man, yeah. No, I like. He didn't really show much tonight. I liked his speed. I liked his skating. I think he needs to bulk up a bit. He is on the smaller side, but I liked how he looked and what he could potentially turn into. It's one preseason game. I'm agreeing with you. Maybe we're a little too hard on Lysell, but some people are already starting to, look better than others.
Well, yeah. I mean, right now we have 7, but right now we have 6 games left. 6 games before the start of the season. We have 16 days before October 8th. 6 games until then to get the roster down to size.
Yep, I agree.
They've been getting ready for it. So,
and 16 days to sign Swayman.
No, December 1st, which there's no way they get it done before the start of the season.
For me, it's got to be. They have to. I need it to happen. Cummings, what do you think about your dark horse? Who's your dark horse to potentially make the team?
Now, I wouldn't say make the team, but one guy I'm definitely excited to see how he comes back this year is Beecher. To see the role he definitely plays. I loved him, and I really kept my eye on him after his first game when he scored his first goal. Obviously I put the spotlight on him, and every time he went out on the ice, I just kind of watched him, and he always just seemed responsible. At least he never took a lot of high chance risks or whatever, and he was definitely back checking, getting his fundamentals underneath there before he exposes himself. But not necessarily a dark horse that I'm excited for. What I said earlier, appearing to what I said earlier, I'm excited to see how Zaka now comes off of that wing. As I was saying earlier, I really hope that he can explode offensively, get into that forecheck as that power forward, get into those nitty-gritty spots, let Lindholm worry about that two-way positions, Pasta can worry about the sniping, and Zaka clean up that trash in front of the net.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with you on Beecher before we move on.
I want to, throw a third on that, and that's for, Rick, Nordy, Alex, all from the Pucking Around podcast. Just wait for John Beecher's year this year. You guys aren't going to see it coming. You're going to be crying later about how right we all were and how wrong you guys were.
Johnny Beecher's going to win the heart, baby. That's it.
He is going to have
the Rocket Richard.
Oh my God, he's going to be so good.
You have no idea. You don't even understand what's coming to you. He had a hat trick tonight.
Oh my God.
They just didn't put it on the sheet because they didn't want everyone else to feel bad. Johnny freaking Beecher, buddy.
Just wait.
Just wait. Dude. And he's not going to be like Ken Johnson either. Come on.
Fuck this guy. Just wait.
All right. So thank you, Kyle, for that. Hopefully, why don't you Kyle, if you're listening and if you find yourself tuning in, why don't you give us a message and let us know what you think for your dark horse. We'd definitely love to hear your thoughts on it too. We do check our comments, so let us know. Let's look at the week ahead. We got the Capitals on Tuesday, the Rangers on Thursday, and the Flyers on Saturday. Real quick. Win or lose against the Capitals, Cummings?
Win. We need to get a win underneath our belt right now.
Okay. Vogel.
I also agree, win. I think that there's going to be, more NHLers playing as the week goes on. I don't know how many for Tuesday. I'm just speculating, but I'm assuming there will be more. Counting that as a win.
I'm going to go for a win, same reason as you stated, Vogel. I think there's going to be a little bit more NHLers as they narrow down that roster size, and then we're going to see what the full roster looks like. Probably not after this week, but probably after the Flyers game, we'll start to get an idea what the roster is going to look like.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with the goalies this week too. If they're going to keep Bussy and DiPietro kind of as a pair, and then keep Korpisalo and.
What are you talking about? Swayman's going to sign tomorrow.
Yeah, Swayman's playing.
Kaskis, whatever the hell that guy's name is.
I think you'll see Bussy. I'm not going to be able to stop doing it. I can't do this. He needs to change his name. I was actually talking to a guy at the Bruins game today. I'm like, Bussy needs to change his name. And he goes, why? I'm like, because I'm going to pronounce it Bussy so many different times.
I'm starting to think that you're doing it on purpose with all the amount of times that you do it between around the whole league. You've never gotten one name right.
I don't know. I got Lysell right. That's it.
Oh no!
Wait, listen. I need names like Craig Smith. I need Taylor Hall. I need the easy ones. I can't have these Kopkas.
European names.
All these European names, dude. What was it? There was like one that had two freaking vowels in it, and it was like 30 letters long. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna attempt that because I will absolutely butcher it.
It's my favorite thing is when you get the names wrong.
Well, yeah, when you look at my last name, though, you'd think I'd learn a thing or two, right? Like I have, 2 vowels in my last name, and about the rest of them are just a fucking mishmash of letters. Yeah, it's nuts. So you'd think I'd be better. I'm not. So Brandon Bussy, I think it's going to be Bussy and DiPietro will stay there. They'll alternate with Korpisalo, and I think they'll see what kind of tandem works best as it kind of goes out. say for the Rangers, Korpisalo plays against the Rangers with either DiPietro or Bussy, just to kind of see who evolved on that, and they'll see kind of like where things have gone. Yeah, so Rangers, let's start with Vogel. Win or loss?
That one I think is going to be probably similar to tonight. It's going to be pretty close. Sticking with the theory that as the week goes on, more NHLs are playing. I'm going to count that one as a loss.
Okay,
especially if Korpisalo doesn't play against the Capitals and he goes in for his first game.
It's possible. Cummings, win or loss?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm thinking it's going to be a tough one. Tough L, though.
I'm going to go win. I think there's going to be something that was learned tonight by some of the players that will likely still be there come Thursday. I think Markov will still be there. I think Lysell will still be there. Maybe Lysell. We'll kind of see where some of the NHLers pop in. But yeah, I think Thursday will definitely have more NHLers. But I think actually as the team sits, if we have more NHLers, don't sue me for saying this, but I think the Bruins are a better team than New York Rangers. Just in terms of depth, I think we have more than they do. Not in terms of prospect, but in terms of depth. All right, so we're going to call that one a loss since you guys outvoted me on that. Saturday, Flyers. Win, loss. Win. And we're only saying win because we love Alex so much. We just love to absolutely see his team shit the bed. So, Alex, when you listen to this tomorrow, fuck Matvei Michkov. Demidov is better. On the side of Rick for that, 100%.
And Beecher's better than both of them.
And Beecher is going to win the Hart. Note it. He's so good. DraftKings doesn't even have a betting line for him because they know.
Can't even bet. I went to go hammer that bet the other day. You can't. He's because Vegas is afraid.
Yeah, they have no idea what's
too much of a guarantee.
Yeah, too much of a guarantee. He'd be a +1. That's it. That's how much. Or he'd be 0. I don't even know. I'm not gonna talk out of my ass with betting. I don't know that. I know pluses and minuses are odds. Yeah, leave me alone. No, it's good. Beach is gonna win it. Watch.
I do think in all seriousness, I think that they'll win Saturday.
I think they'll win Saturday as well. I think I don't think
again, assuming if what we're saying is right and as the week goes on.
They are. That's usually how it all goes.
Depending on who plays, who we're playing against, I do think that'll be a win.
Yeah, I think so too.
All that it all depends. If we get Swayman signed, I feel like some of these games could go differently. Just with
they're not gonna. I don't think they'll play Swayman as much though. I think
not even just playing him. Just if we get him signed.
Oh, it'll boost morale. I agree. Yeah, no, it'll boost morale for sure. I think we'll win just on the sole basis of there isn't really much in terms of goaltending that I think the Flyers have, and yes, they have a decent prospect pool, but I don't think it's by then. I think they're going to be looking at what their roster is going to look like. As we know, they lost Carter Hart and they lost, a couple other pieces. Carter Hart for obvious reasons. We're not going to touch upon that. But yeah, Flyers win, guys. Final thoughts. I'm sorry. Did I say Flyers win? The Flyers will be a win, not the Flyers win. I wanted to correct myself before someone called me out on that.
I knew what you meant. Lysell needs to final thoughts. Lysell needs to get his crap together.
Oh, okay. He didn't swear. That's good. Hey, Daddy Cummings can't swear. What does Daddy V have to say?
We're back.
We're so fucking back, baby. We're so fucking back, dude.
We're so back. You can wake up tomorrow knowing, depending on when you're listening to this, the Bruins might be playing hockey the very same day you're listening to this.
Exactly, baby. We are out of hibernation, baby.
Was waking up this morning knowing there was going to be hockey today.
The bear is fucking woken up, dude. We are out of hibernation. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been HiBruiNation. Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Go Bruins.